It's Charlie, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a video answering a few of your questions from my dental nursing videos. So is it really worth it? What's the salary like? I'm just going to be answering the questions that you guys have asked me. There aren't many, but I'm getting a lot of repeat questions, so I just thought I'd cover pretty much what a lot of people have been asking just in one video. Anyway, if you want to get those questions answered, then just keep watching. Okay, so I've got a few questions on the list here, and the first one is about salary. Now, I've had a couple of people ask me this. So my personal salary, I believe I started on £5.12 and then I went up to £6.50 after about 6-ish months, and then once I qualified I moved practices and I started on £8 at that practice as like a probationary period. As soon as I finished that probationary period I went up to £8.50 and then I went up to £8.75, and now currently I'm on £9.50. Now whenever people ask me, oh, how much do you earn, and I say, oh, I'm on £9.50 an hour, they're like, what, that's so much money. However, for a dental nurse, that is about what you get for a qualified dental nurse with experience. I have friends that are on £10 an hour, £11 an hour, £12 an hour. I'd love to be on £12 an hour, but I'm not. Most dental nurses that have been in it for a few years and are fully qualified, they will be on between, I'd say, £9 and £11 an hour as a rough guide. Some practices pay more, some practices pay less. It depends where you go, who you work for, not necessarily if you're NHS or private, although private you generally will get paid a bit more. That as a dental nurse's salary is about what it's at. Now, as far as an apprenticeship wage goes, I was lucky enough to not be on an apprentice wage. Apprentice wages are very, very low. They can literally pay you whatever they want. So when I was in college, I sat next to a girl and we were talking about our wages, and she was on £2.50 an hour. That is nothing. I don't know how people honestly survive on £2.50 an hour. I mean, I'm very lucky, I don't really have massive bills to pay, but for somebody who is earning £2.50 an hour, they may have bigger bills to pay. I was just very lucky to not be on an apprentice wage. However, saying that, some apprentices might get paid £5 an hour, £4 an hour. It is up to the practice where you go to how much they're going to give you. So in general, that question is pretty difficult to answer about what is the salary, because it's different everywhere you go. So definitely something to find out in an interview for an apprenticeship or a trainee dental nurse. Find out what that wage is going to be, so then you can budget from there and work out if that's going to suit you, because not everybody is going to be, not necessarily happy, but not everybody's going to be able to do £3 an hour. Now once you're qualified, this is where you should see your money jump. So for me, I went from £6.50 to £8. I may have gone up even more if I'd have stayed in the same practice, but I didn't. I moved, so they started me on a kind of probationary wage, as I've just said. So I was on £8, but they told me I'd get a pay rise after the 3 months probationary period, which I did. So I went up to £8.50. So it is going up, and it's going up at a nice rate. But as a kind of starting salary for a qualified dental nurse, then I would go with between £8 and £9 an hour is kind of the average, and then it will just go up from there. Anyway, I'm going to go on to the next question now, because I'm pretty sure I've covered all of what I can in the salary. However, if there's anything else you want to know, then just leave a comment down below. So the next question is, was the training process hard? Now, I have talked about this in a couple of my previous videos, but yes, as one word answer, the training process was hard. It wasn't so hard that I just gave up, because obviously I didn't, but I wanted to give up. And even at the end, I said a few times, if I do not pass this exam, I'm not doing it anymore. That's it, I'm quitting. It wasn't so hard that once I started it, I was like, that's it, I'm getting out of it. But I did keep on going with it, passed all the exams, and now obviously I'm a qualified dental nurse, been qualified for just over 2 years now. But the training process was difficult. It's not something that you can just kind of wing. So when I was at school, I probably shouldn't say this, but I did sort of wing a lot of my exams. I didn't really study very much. I just kind of hoped for the best. But with this, there is a right and a wrong answer, so you do need to know it. You need to get it right, obviously, to pass. So it's a lot of time, a lot of effort. You need to study, you need to be focused on it. You can't just not really care about it. I don't know how to put that into words, but for me, I knew I wanted to do this, so I was focused on it and I had to get it done. So yes, the training process was hard, but to make it easier for yourself, set aside time to study. I will link in the description below the video where I talk about the training process, so you can kind of get an idea from that. But as an answer to the question, yes, the training process was hard. However, you can make it easier for yourself. The next question is, how long is the training? So again, I've already talked about this in one of my previous videos, but the training time is dependent on how you go about the training process. How am I going to put that into words? So I went through Bournemouth and Poole College scheme, which was a 9-month course. So I think it was 9 months from the point that you start until your first exam. As an average, it's about a 9-month course. Again, this is dependent on where you go. However, there are some courses, so I only really know what's specific to my area because I live near Bournemouth, so that's the course I went on. Up in Eastleigh, which is near Southampton, there's another course you can do, which one of the girls from my practice now, she just qualified from it, but her course was 2 years, and this is exactly the same. So she learned exactly the same thing, she had exactly the same exams as me, she did pretty much word for word the workbooks I did, but her course was 2 years. I think what they did, which was different to us, so with my college course, we learned everything and then we did 4 exams at the end. With her college course, they'd spend a few months on one subject, do an exam on it, and they would do that exam until they pass. Once that subject was done, they'd then spend another few months learning a different subject, and then do that exam. I think that probably is the easier way to do it because you don't have all this information in your head and then you've got to remember when you learnt it, what you learned. But at the same time, I think I'd rather do a shorter course and qualify quicker. Again, like for the wage aspect of it, it's nice to jump up in your wages. But for the training process, it's probably easier to learn one subject and then take an exam on it so that everything is not whirling around in your head. There's probably some courses that are 1 year, maybe 18 months. I'm sure you can probably look into them, but it depends what practice you go to as to what course you get put on. Again, this is something to ask in an interview if you're going for an apprenticeship in dental nursing, to say, what scheme would I be on to train? Am I going to go through this college scheme or that college scheme? And they should be able to give you some answers on that and tell you exactly what you'd be doing. Okay, so going on to the last question now, and this question was, is it all worth it in the end? This is kind of difficult to answer because I think it's very personal preference. So for me, yes, it's worth it. It's worth all the training because you're then qualified and you've got this for life. When you are qualified, you are put on a register, which is a legally binding register, and it also means that I can sign passports off for people, which I probably won't ever do, but it means that I can do that. And it gives me a number, which I have also said in a previous video. So my number is 268353, and I am now on this General Dental Council register, so anybody can find that, anybody can see who I am and what qualification I have. However, to stay on this register, we have to do something called CPD, which means Continued Professional Development. So we have to be working in a practice and proving that we are still keeping up with training. So even after we've qualified, there is still training to be done. Going to courses, doing online courses, passing exams. I don't mean exams like you're sat in a hall and you're writing. They're very easy, but you've just got to pass them. So to stay on this register, we have to be proving that we are still doing this. If it gets to the point where you just don't want to do it anymore and they take you off the register and you don't do any of your CPD, you will have to take all those exams again to go back on it. So if you come off and you're not doing CPD, that's it. You will have to not completely retrain, but you'll have to pass those 4 exams again to get back on the register. So to answer the actual question, is it all worth it? It is if you know you're going to be doing it for a long time, But if it's just something that you want to do for say 2 or 3 years, and then you're going to be moving on to something bigger and better, it's probably not worth it. But yeah, it's worth it if you know you're going to be doing it in the long run, but it's not worth it if it's not something that you're going to be doing for a long time and it's just something to quickly pass the time for a few years and then you'll be done with it. For me, it is worth it because I know I'm probably going to be doing it for a long time, not for the rest of my life, but for a while still. However, it's not a job that my heart is really in anymore. I like where I work because I like the people and the company. If I didn't work with such great people, I probably wouldn't do the job anymore. And I've always said once I leave this practice that I'm at now, I won't be doing dental nursing anymore because it's not a job that is really that fulfilling for me personally. I'm sure for lots of other people it is, but for me personally, it's not something that I find really exciting anymore. It's just a job. The thing that's keeping me where I am is definitely the people, and I don't have any plans to leave yet whatsoever, but that's just my thoughts on it. It's really difficult to answer a question like this because I think it is personal preference. So like I've said, for me it's worth it because I'm going to be doing it for a long time, but for somebody else it might not be worth it. Don't let this stop you from doing it if it's something you want to do, because you might have a completely different experience to what I have. But personally for me, if I wasn't working now, I wouldn't do the job anymore because I just don't find that it's fulfilling enough for me. However, you may have a completely different experience to me. I know some people that absolutely love dental nursing, they think it's the best thing in the world, and that might be something that you experience. So please don't let it put you off at all. It's just my personal preference with it. Anyway, that's pretty much it for today's video. I hope this managed to answer some of the questions for you. I'd love to do another Q&A, so if you've got any other questions, then just pop them in the comment box down below. I normally always reply in the comment box with the answer to your question, but I do like doing these kind of videos, so I might cover them all again in another video. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling on now. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, click that subscribe button down below, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!